In the late hours of a stormy night in 2364, the oceanic research vessel Odyssey Explorer bobbed gently on the tumultuous Pacific waves. Below the surface, a remotely operated vehicle, ROV, named Pioneer scoured the seabed, its lights piercing the murky darkness. Dr. Lena Hart, the chief marine archaeologist, monitored the ROV's feed from the control room aboard the ship, her eyes glued to the screens. "Anything yet, Dr. Hart?" Captain Reynolds asked, peering over her shoulder. "Just rocks and more rocks," Lena replied with a hint of frustration. The search had been long and uneventful, but she remained hopeful. Suddenly, Pioneer's spotlight illuminated something unusual. A smooth, metallic surface protruding from the ocean floor. Lena leaned closer, her heart racing. "Wait, go back. Zoom in on that," she instructed the technician. As the camera focused, the object's details became clearer. It was cylindrical, covered in sediment but unmistakably artificial, with intricate engravings that glimmered faintly under the ROV's lights. "Is that what I think it is?" the technician muttered, equally stunned. "It looks man-made. Can we get a closer look?" Lena asked, her voice trembling with excitement. The ROV maneuvered closer, gently brushing away the sediment with its mechanical arm. The engravings were unlike any known human script. Lena took snapshots, her mind racing with possibilities. "Captain, I think we've found something big. Can we prepare for a retrieval operation?" Lena asked, turning to Reynolds with eyes wide with anticipation. "Absolutely, Dr. Hart. We'll start first thing at sunrise." "Great work," Reynolds replied, patting her on the back as he walked away to make preparations. Lena spent the rest of the night documenting the find, her thoughts drifting to the implications of their discovery. As dawn broke, the Odyssey Explorer was abuzz with activity. The crew prepared the lifting gear and secured the deck for the retrieval operation. The sun climbed higher as Pioneer latched onto the object with its retrieval arm. "Steady, steady." Lena guided from the control room, watching the live feed nervously. With a heave, the object was lifted from the ocean floor, sending clouds of sediment swirling around. Pioneer slowly ascended, carrying its precious cargo. The crew on deck readied themselves to receive it, tension and excitement mingling in the air. As the object emerged from the water, dripping and gleaming in the sunlight, the crew cheered. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Metallic with a blue sheen, covered in symbols that seemed to pulse faintly as if reacting to the sunlight. "Get Dr. Mikhailov here. We need his expertise on these symbols," Lena ordered, as they carefully placed the object on a padded surface. Dr. Alexei Mikhailov, the linguist, hurried over, his eyes wide as he examined the engravings. "This isn't any language or script in our databases. It might be extraterrestrial," he whispered, almost to himself. "Extraterrestrial? Are you certain?" Lena questioned, her pulse quickening. "I need to run more analyses, but yes, it's possible. This could be the discovery of a lifetime." "Lena," Alexei responded, his voice filled with a mix of awe and uncertainty. As the news spread, the implications of their find began to dawn on everyone aboard. Lena looked out at the horizon, her mind filled with questions. Who had created this device? What was its purpose? And most importantly, what did it mean for humanity? She knew one thing for certain. Their lives and perhaps the fate of the entire planet were about to change forever. The mysterious artifact was now securely housed in the main lab of the Odyssey Explorer, encased in a transparent isolation chamber. The morning after its retrieval, Dr. Lena Hart and Dr. Alexei Mikhailov stood before it, surrounded by various instruments and monitors hooked up to analyze every possible aspect of the cylindrical device. "Have you made any progress on the engravings, Alexei?" Lena asked, her voice filled with a mixture of hope and urgency. Alexei, who had been poring over the images of the script since dawn, rubbed his eyes wearily. "I've run it through every linguistic analysis tool available. It doesn't match any terrestrial language. The closest I've gotten is a partial match to ancient cuneiform, but even that's a stretch, he replied, frustration evident in his tone. Could this truly be extraterrestrial then? Lena pondered aloud, her gaze fixed on the softly glowing engravings. It's starting to look like a real possibility, Alexei admitted, turning back to his console. I'm going to try something different, a phonetic reconstruction based on the patterns we're seeing. Maybe we can at least get an idea of how it sounds. As Alexei set up his equipment, Lena walked around the chamber, her mind racing with the implications of their find. Suddenly, the artifact emitted a low hum that resonated through the lab, causing both scientists to freeze. Did it just react to something? Lena asked, eyes wide, looking around to see if anything had changed in their environment. I think it did, but I didn't initiate any active scans that could have triggered this response, Alexei said, quickly checking his instruments. It's generating an acoustic signal. Let me capture it. The humming intensified, and the air around the chamber seemed to vibrate. On Alexei's monitor, waveforms danced wildly as he recorded the sounds. There's a pattern here. I'm not sure what it means, but it's definitely intentional, communicative even. Let's broadcast the recording throughout the ship, see if it triggers anything else or if anyone recognizes the pattern, Lena suggested. Her scientific curiosity piqued despite the unsettling developments. As the hum was broadcasted, the entire crew of the Odyssey Explorer experienced a profound silence followed by a faint vibration under their feet. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Gomez noticed anomalies on his monitors. Gomez to Dr. Hart, are you seeing this? The ship's electrical systems are fluctuating. It started right when that humming began. He reported over the ship's communication system. We hear it here too, Gomez. Keep us updated if anything changes, Lena responded, her concern growing. Back in the lab, the artifact suddenly stopped humming, and all monitors returned to normal. Lena and Alexei exchanged a look of bewildered relief. We need to notify Earth Command. This isn't just a discovery. It's an active situation, Lena decided, stepping out of the lab to make a secure video call to her superiors. As she briefed Earth Command, the gravity of the situation dawned on her. The artifact wasn't just a relic. It was potentially a beacon or a message sender of some kind. After the call, she returned to the lab, where Alexei had isolated several segments of the humming. Look at this, Lena. When I adjust the playback speed, these segments form a repeating pattern. It's almost like a call signal, Alexei explained, playing the modified recording. If it's a call, then who is it calling to? Lena mused, a chill running down her spine. We need to be prepared for any eventuality. Could be calling something here. To Earth, Alexei said, his voice somber. Lena nodded, her resolve firming. Let's keep everything we've found under wraps until we have more concrete information. And Alexei, let's continue trying to decode this message. Whatever it's trying to say, understanding it could be crucial. As the day drew to a close, the Odyssey Explorer sailed through calm seas, but aboard the ship, the atmosphere was anything but calm. The crew was uneasy, aware that their discovery could change everything they knew about their place in the universe. Lena and Alexei worked into the night, racing against time to unlock the secrets of an artifact that might soon reveal its purpose to the entire world. Days following the strange activation of the artifact, the Odyssey Explorer had become the center of a scientific and military hubbub. The world's top experts and several governmental officials had convened on the vessel, turning it into a floating command center. Dr. Lena Hart and Dr. Alexei Mikhailov continued their exhaustive studies under the watchful eyes of Earth Command, which had imposed a strict information blackout. In the lab, Lena adjusted the isolation chamber settings while Alexei sat hunched over his computer, analyzing the latest data streams. The hum had not reoccurred, but the anticipation of further activity kept the atmosphere tense. Anything new, Alexei? Lena asked, trying to keep her voice steady despite the pressure. Still working through the signal patterns. But Lena, I think we might be on the verge of a breakthrough, Alexei replied without looking up from his screen. The patterns are complex, far beyond random noise. They're structured, almost like sentences. Just then, the ship's communication officer, Lieutenant Green, burst into the lab, his face pale. "Dr. Hart, Dr. Mikhailov, you need to see this. We've picked up something on the long-range sensors." They followed Green to the bridge where Captain Reynolds was already stationed, staring at the main display. "What have we got, Lieutenant?" Lena asked. "It's a ship, Dr. Hart. An unidentified vessel just entered our solar system, and it's heading towards Earth," Green explained, pointing to a series of blips converging on a 3D model of the solar system. Lena exchanged a worried glance with Alexei. "Could it be a response to the artifact's signal?" "It seems likely," Captain Reynolds said, his voice grave. "Communications have been attempted, but there's no response. It doesn't match any known design. This alien." The implications of his words hung heavy in the air. Lena thought about the artifact, now potentially a beacon that had called to its creators or their descendants. "Prepare a welcome," she instructed, her voice firm. "We need to show that we are peaceful." As the alien ship approached, Earth's defenses were put on high alert, but Lena and her team focused on diplomacy. They set up a communication protocol based on the artifact's signal, hoping to establish a friendly contact. Hours later, as the alien ship entered orbit, a transmission was finally received. The bridge of the Odyssey Explorer was silent as the audio played out. A series of low, melodic tones followed by an awkward pause and then a voice, surprisingly clear and calm. "We received your call. We are here." Lena stepped forward. "This is Dr. Lena Hart of the Odyssey Explorer. We greet you in peace and with goodwill. We hope for a mutual understanding between our peoples." The reply came after a brief silence. "We understand. We seek to learn about the beacon you activated. It is part of our heritage, lost to us long ago." The team on the bridge looked at each other in astonishment. The artifact was not just extraterrestrial. It was a lost relic of a still thriving civilization. "We would like to meet and discuss our shared interests," Lena continued, encouraged by the polite tone of the alien voice. "A delegation will come to you. Prepare." The voice responded before the transmission ended. Preparations began immediately. A section of the Odyssey Explorer was converted into a meeting area suitable for the alien delegates. Lena and Alexei reviewed everything they knew about the artifact, preparing to share information and hoping to gain insights into its origin and purpose. The next day, under the watchful eyes of Earth's defense forces, a small craft detached from the alien ship and made its way to the Odyssey Explorer. The world held its breath as the craft docked, and the doors opened. A trio of beings emerged, tall and slender, their skin shimmering like the surface of the artifact. Their eyes were wide and expressive, filled with curiosity. Lena stepped forward to greet them, her heart pounding in her chest. "Welcome aboard the Odyssey Explorer," she said, extending her hand in a universal gesture of peace. One of the aliens stepped forward, touching its chest and then mirroring her gesture. "We are grateful for your welcome. We are called the Iranians. We hope for fruitful cooperation." As Lena shook hands with the alien delegate, she realized that this was a pivotal moment, not just for her or those aboard the ship, but for all of humanity. The universe had just gotten a little smaller, and Earth was now officially part of a larger cosmic community. In the hours following the initial encounter, the conference room on the Odyssey Explorer had been transformed into a hub of interstellar diplomacy. Dr. Lena Hart, alongside her team and several high-ranking United Nations diplomats, sat across from the Iranian delegates. The atmosphere was one of cautious curiosity, tempered by the monumental nature of their meeting. The lead Iranian, who introduced himself as Avel, began the discussion with a serene tone. "We have observed your civilization from afar, following the activation of the beacon. Our arrival was to ensure the beacon was not a distress signal or a declaration of hostilities." Lena nodded, understanding their concern. "We discovered the beacon by chance. Its activation was unintentional. Our primary aim is peaceful exploration and understanding. There's much we can learn from each other." Avel's thin lips curved into a semblance of a smile. "Indeed, Dr. Hart, our histories may be different, but our goals align. However, the beacon's activation has had unintended consequences." Alexei leaned forward, intrigued. Could you elaborate on these consequences? It has sent a pulse through subspace channels, channels that are sensitive to your dimension. It disrupted our navigation and communication systems, and we fear it may affect others who are less understanding of accidental triggers, Abel explained, his tone becoming slightly stern. The revelation caused a stir among the human delegates. General Davies, the military attaché, spoke up. Are you suggesting the beacon could draw other, possibly hostile civilizations to Earth? Abel paused, measuring his words carefully. It is a possibility we cannot ignore. The beacon is old, built by precursors who seeded many worlds with such devices, as both markers and tests. Lena felt the weight of his words. Tests for what? For potential, for readiness, for joining a wider community of intelligent life, Abel replied. The room fell silent as the implications sunk in. Lena broke the silence. Then it is imperative we work together to manage this situation. We propose forming an alliance, not just to address the beacon's effects but to establish a framework for peaceful coexistence and mutual aid among our species. Abel nodded slowly. An alliance would be beneficial. We will need to establish protocols and understandings. Misunderstandings could prove disastrous in a cosmos filled with diverse beings. Over the next several hours, Lena, Abel, and their teams hashed out the beginnings of an interstellar agreement. Terms were carefully negotiated, with both sides eager to establish trust and understanding. They agreed on sharing technological insights, establishing a joint space monitoring system, and forming a diplomatic council that would include other civilizations if and when they made contact. As the meeting drew to a close, Lena proposed a joint statement to the world. Standing together in the Odyssey Explorer's main observation deck, with cameras broadcasting to billions of eagerly watching Earth citizens, Lena and Abel addressed the world. People of Earth, Lena began, her voice steady despite the butterflies in her stomach. Today marks a new chapter in human history. We are not alone in the universe. We have met our neighbors, the Irenians, and together we embark on a journey of shared knowledge and mutual respect. Abel took over, his voice calm and measured. The Irenians greet you in peace. We look forward to building a future together based on understanding and cooperation. The cosmos is vast, with much to teach us all. The broadcast was met with awe and excitement across the globe. Social media lit up with messages of hope and wonder, along with the inevitable undercurrents of fear and suspicion. But the prevailing mood was one of optimistic curiosity. In the days that followed, Lena and her team worked closely with the Irenians to monitor the beacon and mitigate its signals. With each passing day, the initial barriers of misunderstanding and fear were replaced with a growing sense of camaraderie and shared purpose. Lena often found herself reflecting on the rapid changes. From uncovering an ancient artifact to standing at the forefront of a new era for humanity, her life had transformed unimaginably. But as she worked alongside Abel and his people, she knew that this was just the beginning of humanity's journey into the galactic community. The road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but for the first time in human history, it was a road they would not walk alone. In the weeks following the historic alliance with the Irenians, the beacon's broader implications became increasingly clear. As Abel had warned, the signal had reverberated through subspace channels, attracting the attention of other civilizations, some curious and others, as feared, less friendly. Lena and her team, now regular collaborators with the Irenians, worked tirelessly at a newly established joint operations center aboard the Odyssey Explorer. Here, they monitored the beacon's effects and strategized responses to new arrivals. During a tense meeting with her team, Lena reviewed the latest sensor data. We have 3 new contacts on approach. One has responded to our hails with what seems like friendly intentions, but the others remain silent, she explained, her face illuminated by the glow of the holographic displays. Abel, ever calm, analyzed the trajectories. The silent ones could be observing or they might be cautious. We should prepare for all possibilities. Dr. Mikhailov, now the primary communications officer for interspecies relations, chimed in. I've been working on a universal greeting based on the linguistic patterns we've learned from the beacon and our conversations with the Irenians. It's ready to broadcast. Proceed. Alexei, let's not give anyone a reason to think we're hostile, Lena instructed, nodding at him to initiate the transmission. The greeting was sent out, a blend of mathematical sequences and basic linguistic patterns designed to convey peaceful intentions. They waited anxiously for any response. The room felt heavy with anticipation until one of the monitoring stations beeped, a reply from the friendly contact. A wave of relief passed through the room as Alexei translated the message. They're called the Votarns. They express gratitude for the peaceful welcome and request a meeting. Arrange it, Alexei. Let's keep building our coalition of the willing, Lena said with a hopeful smile. However, the tension wasn't over. The two remaining contacts finally made their presence felt in a less congenial manner. A disruptive pulse emanated from one of them, scrambling the Odyssey Explorer's systems temporarily and sending a clear message of their capabilities. General Davies stepped forward, his military instincts on high alert. We need to show strength. Prepare our defensive systems but hold fire. We don't want to escalate unnecessarily. Abel suggested a different approach. Let me reach out to them. Our technologies are more compatible with theirs. I might be able to establish a dialogue without further provocations. Lena agreed, and Abel transmitted a message using his ship's advanced communication tools. Hours passed with no word, the tension aboard palpable. Finally, a harsh, crackling response was received. Abel translated it live. They call themselves the Krennic. They demand we disable the beacon or face consequences. The room erupted in murmurs. Disabling the beacon was not understood fully. Its purpose and function were still being decoded. We need time, Lena stated firmly. Alexei, Abel, work together. See if there's a way to modify the beacon signal to make it less intrusive to these other civilizations. Working round the clock, the team devised a plan to alter the beacon's emissions. Utilizing Iranian technology and human ingenuity, they prepared a series of modifications that would hopefully neutralize the beacon's disruptive effects without silencing it completely. As Lena presented this plan to the Krennic via a secure transmission, she felt a mix of fear and defiance. We understand your concerns about the beacon. We are prepared to adjust its emissions to ensure it no longer interferes with your systems. We ask for your patience and invite you to join our coalition to discuss this further. The response was delayed, but eventually, the Krennic agreed to observe the effects of the adjustments before making any further moves. The Votarns, meanwhile, had arrived and were more than willing to assist, intrigued by the beacon's history and its potential for fostering interstellar relationships. In the subsequent days, Lena oversaw the delicate operation to modify the beacon. The coalition watched anxiously as the adjustments were made, hoping it would be enough to satisfy the Krennic and prevent any escalation into hostility. When the modifications proved successful, Lena breathed a sigh of relief. The beacon's new pulse was quieter, less invasive, and the Krennic, satisfied with the outcome, agreed to a temporary truce. This is only the beginning, Lena mused to her team and their new allies. Our actions here have set a precedent for how humanity handles its place among the stars. Let's ensure it's a path of peace and cooperation. As the chapter closed on this crisis, Lena felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. The universe was indeed vast, filled with unknowns and challenges, but also with potential allies. The task ahead was daunting, but she was not alone. This new alliance, forged in the face of adversity, was her foundation now. The beacon, once a harbinger of potential doom, had become a symbol of unity. The modifications to the beacon had been a success, bringing a fragile peace to the surrounding cosmos. The immediate crisis had been averted, but the beacon itself remained a mystery, one that Lena, Alexei, Abel, and their expanding team of interspecies experts were determined to unravel. The conference room aboard the Odyssey Explorer had become a makeshift research hub. The walls were lined with digital screens displaying the beacon's intricate engravings, now believed to hold the key to understanding not only its purpose, but also the history of an ancient civilization that had transcended galactic boundaries. I've been cross-referencing the patterns on the beacon with known archaeological finds from Earth and Iranian records, Alexei announced during one of their collaborative sessions. There are similarities with artifacts found on other planets, suggesting a shared heritage, or at least some form of ancient interstellar interaction. Avel, looking over the data, nodded in agreement. It appears the beacon is part of a network, a galaxy-wide web of similar devices meant to foster communication and unity among diverse civilizations. Perhaps they were seeded as part of a grand experiment or mission. Lena pondered the implications. If we can fully decode these engravings, we might unlock the secrets of the network. Maybe even find a way to use it to stabilize regions of space affected by the beacon's disruption. The team decided to focus on translating the engravings using a combination of human and Iranian technology. The task was monumental, requiring not only linguistic expertise but also an understanding of quantum computing and alien engineering principles. As days turned into weeks, the team made significant progress. They managed to translate portions of the text, revealing instructions and philosophical statements that shed light on the beacon's creator's intentions. We've deciphered a section here that discusses harmony and the interconnectedness of all life forms, Lena shared excitedly during a team meeting. It seems the creators of the beacon viewed the universe as an intricate symphony, with each species a unique instrument contributing to the overall harmony. Avel added, "This aligns with Iranian philosophy. We believe all life is interconnected through the fabric of what you call quantum entanglement." It's fascinating to see these concepts reflected in the beacon's message. The team also uncovered practical applications of the beacon. It appears to have a dual function, Alexei pointed out. Not only does it serve as a communicator, but it also stabilizes gravitational fields and can be used to enhance faster-than-light travel across fixed points. Acting like a lighthouse, this could revolutionize space travel, Lena mused, her mind racing with the possibilities. We could establish safe passages through even the most volatile sectors of space. The breakthrough came when they unlocked a map encoded within the beacon's structure, highlighting other beacon locations across the galaxy. "It's a star map," Lena exclaimed, tracing her fingers over the glowing lines on the screen. "These must be the other beacons. If we can reach them, perhaps we can fully restore the network." Excitement buzzed through the room. The discovery of the map not only provided a roadmap for future exploration but also solidified the beacon as a tool of peace and advancement. Avel, reflecting on their progress, addressed the team. "This is more than scientific achievement. It's a testament to what we can accomplish when we work together. The precursors left these beacons to guide and unite us, and in solving their mysteries, we are fulfilling that ancient directive." As the meeting concluded, Lena felt a profound sense of achievement and optimism. She looked at her team, humans, Iranians, and now a few Votarns, and realized that they were living proof of the beacon's purpose. Together, they had started piecing together a galactic puzzle that spanned millennia. With a new mission forming, Lena began planning their next steps. "We'll need to organize expeditions to these beacon sites. Each one could hold more pieces of this cosmic puzzle." The team agreed, eager to continue their journey of discovery. As they left the conference room, Lena stayed behind for a moment, looking out at the stars. The universe no longer seemed like a vast, unknowable abyss, but a place of wonder and connection, a puzzle they were beginning to solve, one beacon at a time. The Odyssey Explorer was now more than just a research vessel. It had become the flagship of a burgeoning interstellar alliance, leading a coalition towards new frontiers across the galaxy. Lena stood on the bridge, gazing out into the vast expanse of space, a map of beacon sites displayed prominently on the main screen. Each of these points represents a beacon, a chapter of a story written long before us, Lena explained to the gathered representatives from Earth, Irenia, and Votarn, who listened intently. "Our mission will be to connect these chapters, to rediscover a legacy that was meant to unite disparate civilizations across the cosmos." Avel, who had become not only a colleague but a close friend, added, "The precursors designed these beacons not just as markers, but as meeting points, places where beings from different worlds can come together and share knowledge. By restoring the network, we are honoring their vision." The plan was ambitious. A series of expeditions to each beacon site, involving combined crews of human, Iranian, and Votarn scientists and engineers. The Odyssey Explorer would lead the first mission, aiming to reactivate the nearest beacon and establish a permanent research base. Alexei, who had been appointed the head of communications for the mission, chimed in, "We've developed a standard protocol for initiating contact with any new civilizations we might encounter. Based on everything we've learned, we're prepared to extend the hand of friendship and cooperation." General Davies, overseeing the mission's security aspects, ensured their approach balanced openness with caution. "We're stepping into the unknown, but we are well prepared. Our defense systems are non-aggressive and primarily defensive. Remember, our goal is peace." As the preparations continued, Lena met with the engineering team, discussing the technical challenges of reactivating the beacons. These are not just technological relics. They are highly advanced machines with the potential to affect gravitational fields and subspace communications. "We need to approach them with the utmost care and respect." The team nodded, understanding the complexities involved. Dr. Alara Miles, a theoretical physicist, said, "We believe that once reactivated, the beacons can also enhance our understanding of dark energy and quantum entanglement. This could lead to breakthroughs in energy production and faster-than-light travel." The day of departure arrived with a flurry of activity. Crews said their goodbyes, loaded supplies, and performed final checks. Lena took a moment to address everyone on board via the ship's intercom. "Today we set out not just to explore the unknown, but to build bridges. Each beacon we activate opens a new path for unity and cooperation across the stars. Let us be guided by curiosity, respect, and a relentless pursuit of knowledge. Together, we embark on this journey not just as representatives of our respective worlds, but as pioneers of a new era." The Odyssey Explorer left Earth's orbit amid a chorus of cheers and well-wishes from around the world, broadcast live across various media. As the ship approached the first beacon, the tension and excitement were palpable. Upon arrival, the engineering team, led by Lena and accompanied by Avel and a Votarn technician named Soren, boarded the shuttle to the beacon's surface. The site was on a barren moon orbiting a giant gas planet, its skies swirling with storms of brilliant colors. The beacon, a towering structure of gleaming metal and pulsating lights, stood dormant on the surface. Lena placed her hand on the console, a mixture of apprehension and hope in her eyes. "Let's begin," she instructed. The activation process was slow and deliberate. With each step, the beacon began to hum, its lights brightening. Then, without warning, a burst of energy rippled through the area, a visible wave that washed over them and dissipated into space. "It's working," Soren confirmed, checking his instruments. "The beacon is online, and it's already syncing with the network. We're receiving data, lots of it." As the information streamed in, Avel looked at Lena. "This is it. The network is waking up, and with it, our potential to foster peace and understanding grows." Lena smiled, her face reflecting the beacon's glow. "This is just the beginning. There's a whole universe out there, ready to connect, ready to share its secrets. Let's go discover them together." The beacon, once a symbol of isolation and mystery, had become a beacon of hope and connection. As the Odyssey Explorer prepared to journey to the next site, Lena felt a profound connection not only to her crew but to the universe itself. The journey ahead was uncertain, but the path was clear. This was humanity's new horizon, exploration driven by unity and the shared pursuit of knowledge.